Talk Radio.
Yo, what up, though? Real Guido here, motherfuckers, and I'm here on Real Talk Radio today because we are going to be having soon a certain someone call in that used to work for Psychopathic Records. Now, there's been all this talk if what Isham has ever said about Psy ever been true or not. There's been a lot of talk about that shit. And why not ask one of the people that was recently working for them? Maybe not necessarily, like, huge on the music side of Psychopathic Records, but on the radio side. We're supposed to be having Sasha Doll and Bam Bam call in. Waiting for them to call on in right now, but don't see them yet. Well, that being said, I'm going to let Dominic on.
What up, everyone? How's everyone doing tonight?
Looking tired. Right.
Yeah. So, fucking Sasha Doll and Bam Bam. Ooh, this is going to be interesting.
You know what?
Yeah.
Sasha Doll, she got screwed over from Psychopathic, apparently money-wise as well, along with Philin, from what Bam has been telling me.
Oh.
Which is no fucking surprise, but still.
Yeah, I was about to say that. There is no surprise. But it's Psychopathic. But the radio, I never listened to the radio show, did you?
I only listened to Twisted, and the one that Bam and Kara were on, which was the one that Sasha Doll hosted, which was with those other three girls that were all like fucking whores, pretty much.
Yeah, I used to, when they used to upload them to YouTube, I used to watch Ashtrays and Ashes Biggers, the Blaze Your Dead Homie show, the one with the girls, and Sugar Slam, Demo Jam, whatever.
Dude, don't even get me started on Sugar Slam, dude. Oh my
don't
god.
Get me started, dude. I don't understand how some guys want to fuck her.
No, not even that, dude. Like, her at the gathering, dude. Everybody were screaming, "Go home, Sugar Slam, go home!" You know. Hey, they're in. I'm gonna let them on. Yo, what up, though?
What's poppin', homie?
What's good, Bam?
Just wandering around with Miss Sasha. She's getting ready to get up on here. I figured I'd say what up to you right quick, though.
What up?
What up?
The real talk.
We are wandering to a fucking park out here in motherfucking Ferndale and shit, and it's hot as balls because fucking wandering around for the past, like, week because of those motherfucking clowns. They claim they got everybody's back, but do they? Fuck no. But anyways, though, I'll throw you on the phone with my baby girl. Here she is, homie.
Right on.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Sasha? How's it going?
It's going great.
That's good.
Yeah, as you know, I don't know if you've seen the Facebook, but we found out yesterday that I am approximately 8 weeks pregnant.
Which, congratulations to you. I saw that.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
What are you looking for, a boy or a girl?
Actually, we really don't care as long as it's healthy, because I don't know if you know, but I have systemic lupus. So with everything that I do, and my age is a factor, I'm very high risk. So we're just hoping that it's healthy. We're not interested in really what it is. Boy or girl, but you know.
Okay. Hope it's healthy, though. I really do.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
So Sam has been telling me that you need a soapbox, per se, to let everybody know of all the whole-ass shit that the clown's done to you guys.
Well, let me start with the worst whole-ass shit.
With that being said, you know, go ahead. Just shoot on out. You know, just tell us everything, you know.
Well, in the past year, since working for those so-called people that have people's backs, first of all, I was never paid a dime. I've watched my friends at the label Twisted, Boondocks, ABK, Blaze, all of them. I've watched everybody get fucked over to the point where we all have FBI files, and I've been kicked out of 4 homes. My own mother has been followed. I've been followed. We were stopped by the cops the other night and detained for almost 2 hours because I have a flawless record except for that I worked for them. So the police were very interested in my time at Psychopathic, and they were very interested in where we were going, what we were doing. And when it gets to the point where my own family's followed and I'm not supposed to talk about it, I have a real problem with that. In addition to the fact that again, they never paid me or any of my friends a dime for the people that did my radio show. So
that's the other thing that I want to say. Your radio show, I literally felt sorry for you having those other bimbos on the show.
Yeah, it's really sad because they had originally given me sole creative control, and as Dylan said on your show, the way that they pass around responsibility and just take it from one person that knows what they're doing, like Dylan, and then they gave it to Corp. Corp is the last person that should have run a radio show. And I mean, as a person, I love the guy dearly, but he has no business sense. So, the things that they were doing, and then they would give me a set date to do a show, and I would put it all over the place and promote it, and then they'd go changing dates on me, and I lost my guests. I mean, I had some big names. At one point, I had the creators of Venture Brothers that wanted to come on to the show from Adult Swim. I had different people like that, and with the way that they were screwing me over, I couldn't do that, and then I was blamed for it. And then that would be their reason for not paying me. Now, technically, I'm still under contract, so I'm risking being sued for this, and that's how much I don't care. Joe can sit there and wear his Coogee and buy his illegal Vicodin and have underage girls in the office all day, but God forbid I talk about him being a piece of shit, because he really is. He's lost sight of the dream he wanted to create. And again, like Dylan said, you can't claim scrub life if you haven't gotten a food stamp in 15 years.
Very true.
The guy really doesn't know what it's like to struggle anymore, and he forgets that the rest of us do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Boondocks, if you've ever talked to him, but the poor guy, he's actually a very good friend of mine. In fact, I want to give out a shout-out to his mom, Diane. Thank you. She was the first one to congratulate us. But poor Docs, he was sitting there paying for his own beats and paying for his studio time, and in the middle of them promoting Desktop, he was supposed to have studio time, and every time he tried to get into the studio, they were always busy, and then they wouldn't let him into the studio, and then that became his issue, and I can't go too into that. But then they turned around and tried to get him for breach of contract on that, and that's what they do to people.
And Boondocks was like I'm not in all the country and stuff like that, but Boondocks, I love the Crimson Creek album. The Untold, Unwritten song is one of my favorite songs.
Oh, yeah, that's a beautiful one.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just so sad what they did to him, and that's another thing that most people don't realize. The reason they're so nasty toward Docs is they tried to make a joke out of him originally. You know, you hear songs like Chicken Hunting, and they're talking about piggy pie and rednecks and how they hate him, and then they throw Docs on stage because they're trying to get people to hate him as part of their routine, and then when people loved him, they were all upset about it. Well, I mean, he has real talent. What do you expect?
Yeah,
exactly.
I remember I was wearing a Hatchet Man on the train, and it was the Boondocks charm that I got off, Amazon, I think. And the guy's like, Boondocks is real talent, but don't you see the hypocritical part in that with signing him? And at the time, I wasn't really thinking about it. I'm like, what do you mean hypocritical? He's like, okay, don't you remember Chicken Hunter? I'm like, yeah, one of my favorite songs. He's like, look at that song and think about it. Why would they sign Docs? It's the same thing with Hobson and signing a bunch of weed smokers.
Well,
exactly.
No, Dominic, how I see it is basically the clowns, they're trying to get all the money. That's how I see it, right? They signed Boondocks, and then after they said, fuck rednecks, fuck the South, for so long, I see it that they signed Boondocks to basically put a Band-Aid over that wound of, fuck rednecks and fuck the South, so then they can gain more fans from the South and more money into ICP. That's how I see it. I see it as a ploy, just like how they have Twisted doing, weed smoking theme songs when all actuality, they can make actual good, deep music like Abominations is,
Yeah, exactly.
To me, it feels like they're hindering all the other talent, and they just want to be number one on their label.
And they never ever come into the studio. It's always all of us in the studio. And if you want to talk about a major sellout, a few years ago, MTV wanted to host The Gathering, And Violent J said, well, when you can pay us a couple $1 million, you can come cover it. Well, guess who's covering the gathering this year? And at the risk, again, of being sued, MTV is covering us like we're fucking spring breakers. So, at that point, what are you trying to pull here? You're doing Tosh.0 appearances. You're letting everybody use the rights to your face paint. You're trying to pad your pockets because you know you're going down. And to take the focus off of him and other people that he has close to him, not the artist, but he and his crew, doing illegal activities, they sued the FBI. So what now? All the juggalos and the staff get the heat. And what did he think was going to happen?
Yeah.
The other thing before the FBI file came into existence, they've done so much shit with I'm not really bitching, I'm just, showing my observation, is that they did so much shit with psychopathic riders, and they promoted that really, really big. Like, I believe it was, the year before the whole FBI thing came involved. They did that. They did, 3 albums within 1 year or so? Or 2 albums, was it? In 1 year of Psychopathic Riders, and that was...
It was 2.
Yeah.
I think
they
it was
did 2 albums.
like that.
And then they promoted the fuck out of that, saying, yo, we riders. All the juggalos around here are riders. We're gangbangers and shit. I mean, how else are you going to expect to get labeled even worse? And that's not coming back on them. Of course, all the scrub kids are going to buy the shit out of that.
And I don't even care that it's me, but when it's my mother, mother dropped us off in downtown Detroit. She had stuff to do. We were headed over to Canada, and she wanted to make sure we made it, so she drove around the city of Detroit for an hour and a half, she said. And then the next thing she knew, there was this big black SUV with big antennas and blacked out plates and everything that followed her literally all the way from the tunnel on Jefferson, where the bridge to Canada is and the tunnel is, all the way up to her street in Ferndale and down her street to her house, sat there for half an hour and then left her alone. Now, that's my mother. So, I mean, if you're going to follow me because I was a staff member, then you go right ahead and you follow me. But I sure as shit didn't tell my mom anything. And I don't even know anything. That's the thing. I was actually hauled in for questioning at one point, and they determined I knew nothing. Yet the police, when they pulled Bam and I over the other night, were very intent on, well, you have an interesting past with psychopathic records. Want to tell us about that? And I'm like, no, not really. It was determined I didn't know anything. I'm going home. Thank you. I'm disabled. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm pregnant. I'm going home. Thank you. Have a great evening. And, and of course there's only so much you can do because they have the right to detain you and search you. And fortunately, we didn't have anything on us, but,
Yeah,
right.
I know from personal experience, once I started driving, here, my dumb self decides, let's slap a hatchet man on the back. I have been fucked with, right now I've been pulled over 7 times, and I don't do anything wrong.
And you've never gotten a ticket, I'm sure. They just pull you over to question you and then they let you go.
Exactly. And personally, I've been a juggalo since I was a young kid. It was because of the music that everything in my life, I love ICP's old stuff because when I got kidnapped and all that shit went down with me, ICP was there for me to be, have a smile on my face. Their music has been there for me. But as, when I first met Guido, he opened my eyes to the bullshit, and I'm glad that he did because I was all about ICP. I was defending them, but now I see they're not in the right to defending. They're just right now they're pieces of shit in my eyes.
No, and that's the thing. I will sit here and I will defend the first 6 Joker's cards. I will also be the first to tell you that I don't know a lot of the music. I've been around a lot of the staff for years. I will never call myself a juggalo. I come from the goth industrial scene. However, that being said, I'm appreciative of all forms of music as an art form. And
exactly.
And, to watch what they did and the things they built from the ground up, Joe used to be happy to do the gathering. He was like, yeah, let's go do this. And tickets were, I want to say the first year they were really cheap or free, and then every year they've just gotten worse and worse. And now Joe doesn't even like doing the gathering. He'll complain about it before he goes out there. He'll complain and be like, I can't believe I'm doing this again. And it's like, then don't.
And
see,
you know what?
With me, when I went to the gathering last year, that was my first ever gathering. It was horrible. They had people, I'm not dissing on anybody juggalo-wise or not. If you go to the gathering every year, cool. That's on you. You enjoy it, cool. but my first time going there, I saw people smoking crack and shooting up heroin in the woods at night.
I've heard of that, and that is just disgusting.
And
that
I'm
is
like,
not the spirit of the label. That's just gross.
No, it's not. You know, and I thought it was going to be like, you know, like a normal music festival. Like, I've been to Download Music Festival. I thought it would be like that, but like times 50,000. Yeah, same here. But like, I thought it would be like that times 50,000 juggalos and like rap shit versus like punk or metal or anything like that, you know. But
right.
It was not like that. Everybody fended for themselves. Everybody was almost like a fiend in a way.
Well, and then I heard about the guy who got his whole car trashed and stolen, and they took everything out.
Yes, I was going to get into that, Sasha.
Yeah.
The thing is that we got all of our food stolen the very first day.
Oh, God.
We went up the hill to the the Red Mist Hill, right by the built-in showers that's actually on the campsite. So we were going to stay there because it had fresh, like, well water, you know, not no, like, cool-off stations, which were a fucking joke. All right, so basically we camped there, and then we went back to the car and grabbed more supplies. Well, when we came back, all of our food was gone. The person that camped next to us, Rizzy Riddlebox was her name. Shout out to her. She hooked us up with food. But what we did is they got all of their alcohol stolen. So we just did like the Village People ordeal, you know. But other than them, they were the only like Village People, like everybody's a brother type vibe feeling people. Everyone else was like, oh, let's go get fucked up, or like, oh, so and so's gonna play. Let's go in the mosh pit and fuck other people up, you know. It's like there was no love vibe. There was nothing like that. There was no the family vibe that they keep preaching. There was none of that.
Right.
Well, what I expected when I knew I thought we were gonna go this year, what I expected was I got like first like I was scared like when I heard that I was like I was all ready to go, and then coming down to it like August is coming up, it just went into my mind. It's not like it was 5 years ago. It's not like what it was 10 years ago.
No, and that's why they keep us under contract the way they do, because they figure they'll use people like me as long as we have a use, and then it's, oh, well, you're under contract for 7 years, so you can't talk to anyone. You signed an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. So, yeah, I totally agree with you. They've completely lost sight of everything. I understand people that still support Psychopathic from a family aspect, but I'm always saying you can be a juggalo and despise Violent J. However, I do have to say, along the lines of what Dylan said, Shaggy is an innocent. He doesn't know any better. He doesn't. Jay makes all the shots, and Shaggy just goes with it because the man has no job skills or anything else to do with himself if he's not following Violent J. So
yeah,
he really is an innocent. He's very sweet.
Like he's a puppet.
Yeah, pretty much, and
like
he's very sweet.
Personally, I have no problem with Shaggy. I have no problem with Shaggy. Shaggy seems like a guy that he grew up with Violent J. When Violent J turned, Shaggy probably was like, what the fuck's going on? I have no idea what's going on. What the fuck? Why does everyone hate us now? What the fuck?
Yep, that's pretty much how he is, too. And he himself couldn't handle it. And I don't know if you remember, we had an episode on air, which I won't awfully go into, but he basically came in drunk and made a mess out of the studio because he was mad at Jay. So they had to redo the entire studio last year. And he was just really mad because he's saying, hey, these people used to say, hey, what up, Shags, as I walk down the street. Now people are throwing crap at me. They're throwing whole bottles of Faygo. What the fuck? And that really happens to him. He can't even sit in peace with his own kids and his family. And I'm pretty sure he's probably heard about the whole FBI thing, too, because it's not just the staff it's affecting. It's our families. I've had people that have been questioned that I spoke with once as a bartender years ago, and people have gone in and questioned them. What do you know about her? Did she talk about any gang activity? Is she this? Is she that? And they're like, no, I spoke with her once. She seemed like a nice girl, pretty quiet, kept to herself. You know, and it's not just me. It's everybody around me that I've ever had dealings with that's now put in this position, and that really pisses me off.
Yeah. Like, just to see what it came from. It came from the Carnival Carnage with these guys trying to make it big, but they didn't want to make it big. It happened. They saw the money, and the way I look at it is once you see the money and see what it can become, they took it, and they took it, and we have like to see like let's say great albums like the Riddle Box, and for people to compare that to like Mighty Desktop, it's a slap in my face for when I used to like I love the 6-stroker cards, but for people to compare the new deck to this deck, it's complete shit. It's
well, first of all, there should be no new deck. It should have ended like it was supposed to. It says the carnival consumes us all. What the fuck is this new deck shit? That's ridiculous.
Exactly, and that's what I feel too.
Yeah, when me and Guido have talked about Bang Paul Boom and My Desktop, and it makes no sense. Like, there's
no message. There's several messages, but there's no fluent message behind the new ones. Plus, it just seems like they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And also, it seems like Shaggs, he's just along with the ride because he's just, if there's, like Phil said on that one radio show a while back, there's more money in ICP versus a Shaggy 2 Dope album.
Personally,
there's more money in ICP. There's more money in an ICP album than there is on a Violent J album. That's why they haven't broken up yet. That's what he said. And along lines also with that, with the people, how you said that they haven't paid people. A long time ago, Eshawn was promised $2 million for, I believe it was like a 2-year contract, and
back
he was
in the
supposed
days when
to
he
release.
had to walk them to the studio and everything. I'd heard about that.
Yep. And he had like, I think it was like a 3 or 2 CD contract where he had to make 2 solo CDs under Psy, and then he could leave. Well, apparently he only got paid like $250,000 of the $2 million that he was in contract with. So that's why he's salty with him. And judging by based what you said and what Phil said in the past, saying that he can hardly get gas just to go to the radio show, that they have been screwing people over.
Well, and it's worse than that. I actually kept promising the person that I was in a relationship with, oh, yeah, they're paying me this week, and Jay would actually come to our house. He put in this, like, huge Vivint security system. I don't know if you know about Vivint, but basically a bunch of smoke and mirrors. I could control the entire house from my phone. It was pretty pimp. That was part of my contract, so that, like, as I left, I could check on my phone and look at the cameras and turn the heat and lights on and everything. And it's like, well, that's all fine and dandy, but then I'm sitting here promising this person that I was at that point in a 16-year relationship with. I was promising him money and, you know, oh, they're paying me this week, and I lost everything. I lost everything I owned. I lost a 16-year friendship and relationship. I lost my animals. Everything just gone, you know?
Yeah.
And it's all because he wants to make his pockets fatter, and he'll promise anybody anything he thinks will get them to sign. Knowing that I wasn't from his scene, he was like, well, if I throw a bunch of money at her, she'll do this. And it wasn't even about that for me. You know, if he had just said, hey, this is unpaid, but will you do it, I would have still done it. But then to try to support a family and be told that this is what I'm getting, and then I never saw a dime of anything, ever. So,
yeah, and that's fucked up.
Yeah, and so
Phil
is absolutely right. And I know there were people that were like, no way they didn't pay you. I promise you, Phil was telling you the truth. So,
yeah, and because what we just want to get is, like, what we want to understand and what I want to understand, and also prove to other motherfuckers that are diehard ICP fans and they can't see past the bullshit, is like, hey, these people screwed a lot of people over. They screwed Twisted over, who were their best friends, you know, since the beginning. But in a way, they also Twisted. In a way, they also just stole Twisted's original gimmick, which was the House of Crazies, which I think was a lot more, you know, believable, like music-wise, back in that time period than ICP was. And
well,
it
and
was,
Paul and Jamie are just wonderful people.
Right.
So, you know, to sit there and screw them over, especially when you've got that kind of friendship behind it, I don't know how Jay can sleep at night, because those guys are just so sweet, and anytime they walk into a room, they are, what you see is exactly what you get. There is no fake, there is no bullshit with them. The dynamic between them is exactly what you see. And you know,
and I met these guys. They're way nicer than, like, you see in videos, like, they're cracking jokes. That's exactly what they are. They're not just cracking jokes on camera. They do it. They're normal guys. they're not like, I'm making a lot of money. Don't touch me. They're like, yo, what up, brother? What up? You're like, oh,
you wouldn't even
hand?
know that they have what they do. Like, they'll just walk in and, like, one point on one of the radio shows, they took my cell phone and did the whole Magic Ninja what bit. And just everybody in the studio was just dying laughing. Like, they're just hilarious like that. And the dynamic between them is always, you never see them fight. You never see a problem between them. And they're just, it doesn't matter whether it's money or business. You just have no idea what they have because they don't live like that. They don't put it on blast like that. So,
yeah, they're normal guys. They're sweet, and they're nice. Like, I met these guys at their, Fright Fest. And, like, I met these guys, and I thought they were going to be like, I met bands before, I met groups before. They're all like, oh, yeah. These guys are cracking jokes. They're like, they're fun, and they're like, and I remember walking out, and they threw a guy a bag of weed, like, just to be nice. They're like, oh, he's like, man, someone jacked me. They're like, what you, and they gave him like $10 to go get back home because the train and shit. These, like, Twisted's like the nicest people I ever met. Like, to give a guy $10 because he gets jacked at your concert, one of the nicest things. They didn't have to do that.
Right. Just so you know, we might be getting messed with by the cops. They might see us in the park. So we couldn't do the interview at my mom's for obvious reasons because she's petrified of the whole FBI thing. So I promised her that we would go to the park at the end of the street. So just so you know, this might happen because this happens to me on almost a daily basis now.
Yeah.
So,
like...
But the thing is, Sasha, have you ever noticed that the recent album that the Twisted release was Abominations, right?
Right.
Well, I've noticed this at the very beginning when they first leaked the cover photos of it with the new face paint. I'm like, they are going back to House of Crazies.
If I have to go really quick, I will call you. No, neither one of us is Joe. 2041 Romeo. Yeah, sorry, this is happening. I'm actually in the middle of a radio station interview. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But if he'll let me stay on the phone, I'll still stay here.
We're looking for someone tonight too, but I gotta say park.
Okay, we'll be happy to leave. I'm sorry. Sorry to bother you guys this evening. Sounds good.
But like I was saying, Sasha, like their newest gimmick or face paint is House of Crazies, which makes me believe, and that was on their cover, you know. And I thought that they were going to go back to the roots, like with that whole acid rap style beats and shit that a bunch of people who are old school juggalos fucking still love.
Right.
But they didn't do that. They didn't really do that. They did real music, though. You know, they didn't do that. I'm a weed smoker. Yeah, you know, like they used to when they first started off.
Like, I love their new like, I want to buy their new album, but money and shit, but, like, I heard their new songs, and they're, personally, like, I know people have been bitching about Jamie's new voice, Madrox, and his all, like, fast rapping, but I have no complaints with it. It sounds new. It sounds fresher. He's trying something new.
Yeah, see, I love that. Like, it's always better for an artist to branch off and do different things that they wouldn't normally do. And even if you just look at it as a concept album, it's still a part of the story.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the same thing that Marilyn Manson did with Mechanical Animals. And, you know, I can't necessarily look at it as a Marilyn Manson album, but it's still a great piece of work.
Yeah, and for it to be on Psychopathic Records and how they been fucking over people's albums. Like, I have noticed, like if you look at Boondocks, his third album, no offense to Docs, no offense to Boondocks, that album was, in my mind, a bad album.
That's because Jay went through, and after Docs was finished with it, Jay went and played with it. He was mad that Docs was doing so well. He always wanted Docs to be a joke, and when Docs broke out of that, he got mad, and he went and played with his entire album and put extra vocals on it, rearranged songs, took out some of the ones that Docs wanted, and put in ones that shouldn't have made the cut, and that whole album was Jay's fault.
Yeah,
So,
and
I know
also
Doc
that
feels
was-
bad about it. He's like, this is second-rate crap, and I know it. So
yeah.
he'll be the first to tell you.
Well, Sasha, you do know about the gang rags ordeal, right?
No, I don't know the full story behind that.
Well, apparently the deluxe version that's out there nowadays that you could only buy at shows and or on eBay, right? The deluxe version that has all different songs, but it's called Gang Rags Deluxe, whatever the fuck, Pop-Emporium, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Right.
It has that, and it has that name on it, and that was the one that had J10's song on it, but they just took that song out. Well, apparently, whenever the song with J10 was on, they took that song out. Violent J, or Joe Bruce, scrapped the whole entire album, made him rewrite one which had the Gang Rags, which was sold with the CDs. Which also is another reason why we got hurt so bad, like fan base-wise, the Juggalos-wise, got hurt so bad, because they sell bandanas with their fucking CDs. Really?
Well, yes. Like, what do you think is going to happen when you put out 4 different colors of bandanas or 5 different, or whatever you did, and you put gang rags right on the bandanas? What do you think is going to happen to us? And he didn't realize, again, he didn't just hurt the fans, he hurt everybody but himself with that, because he just throws money at it and it goes away and nobody cares, you know, and the rest of us are left to suffer and pick up the pieces. I have a mom that when we came into town wouldn't even let us sleep in her house because she's terrified of this FBI thing. We had to sleep in the backyard in a tent with no running water, no nothing. And she's like, you know, this isn't against you. And she didn't know I was pregnant at the time, to her defense. But, you know, to sit there and she's like, well, you can't be in the house when I'm gone because I just don't want anyone questioning me again. And, you know, my mom, she was the head of Detroit Special Ed for years. She's a great woman. And to sit here and have to not be in my own mother's house because Joe thought it was cool to sue the FBI. And it's just, I am so angry about that. Forget the not being paid. Forget what he's done to my friends. The fact that they're not fucking with my family, that's the very core of what psychopathic's supposed to be, as a family, and now you're fucking with mine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with the whole suing FBI thing, I think that with the whole suing FBI thing was a blessing and yet also a curse. A curse for some juggalos in different states, you know, because some like, I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan, on the whole entire west side of Michigan. Over here, it's a lot better than in Detroit or Chicago.
We actually have a beach house in Grand Haven, so I know right where you're at.
Right on. So you know where I'm at. You know how the fucking cops are over here. They barely ever mess with you at all. You know, and
right. They're like summer partiers. Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, and like in certain big cities, like say where Dominic's from, Chicago, where you're at right now in Detroitish area, you know, it's bad for cops there because they then profile innocent kids who just claim Juggalo as a fan of the music. You know, they're not.
And they look at them and they go, "What's this green flag out your back pocket that says gang rags on it?" You know, so it goes back to that. It's like,
and then you get a gang profile.
Yeah, I remember making a YouTube video. Remember my YouTube video, Lucas, about protesting against gang rags and stop? I told everyone to stop wearing them. Yep. It's just going to add to it. And I got so much hate on that one video. It's like I was making a good point.
Like, right? Yeah. I'll have to go back and look that up because that sounds like a really good thing to do.
Yeah, like, but, I remember I saw this picture on Facebook that got me going. It was like a guy wearing the gang rag and throwing up the hand sign. I'm like, I hit my forehead. I'm like, really? Are you fucking stupid? It's a fucking album. They do not mean you to throw up the gang sign. It's an album, please. And
the worst is when, and I don't know the different colors and things like that, but I know there was one picture circulating where the different kids wearing the different colors were throwing up the correct gang signs for the colors. And it's like, really? You're going to either get yourselves killed or get all of us profiled or both. Come on now.
Yeah, and where I'm from, I live by the west side, and I have the Latin Kings and shit. You have a bunch of white kids running around throwing up gang signs. That's
in neighborhoods where they're going to get themselves killed. It's not even just about getting us profiled. It's people getting hurt over that.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I have to wonder why
point.
would Blaze do that. Now, I don't know Chris very well. I know he likes to kill zombies and stuff like that in video games, but I don't know him really well. But you have to wonder, what the hell was this guy thinking?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was just rolling with the punches maybe on that one, because from what I've heard, Cy owes him a shit ton of money, and that's why he hasn't left yet.
Yeah, he started out, from what I understand, he started in our warehouse. If the story is to be believed, I don't really know. I wasn't there at that time, but
he started. What the story is, like, he started off back. He rapped about it. He started off backstage, and then Twisted told him to push him. Like, he released an album. They said no, it did not. It fell through, and I guess Twisted kept pushing ICP, like, give him a chance, give him a chance, give him a chance, and now we have Blaze.
Yeah, that's
pretty much.
That's what I understood too. And he actually started off doing embroidery in our warehouse originally, is what I'd heard. And I heard that he was paid very well for that, because they usually do. They're pretty smart about that. Our behind-the-scenes people, the people that do the embroidery in the warehouse, the people that really work their asses off round the clock, 9-to-5 jobs, they get paid decently. And they do all right. It's just when it comes to the talent and the radio that we just all get screwed over. But
right.
I've even heard from some of the people from the warehouse that they're getting messed with by the police now, too. And they're like, really? I just sew logos on jerseys all day. What could I possibly know? I've never even come into contact with ICP, because some of them haven't. You know, we have tons of interns, and that's the other thing. Joe loves to exploit intern work. He'll go to, like, Specs Howard, and he'll just pull, like, say, 50 interns or whatever, and then at the end of the week we have maybe 15 or 20 of them left, and he just goes through the office and fires them. Like, that's his favorite thing to do. He just comes through and he goes, you're fired, fuck you, get out, get out, get out. And then if you happen to be in his way, you don't have a job for no good reason. So he loves to do that, and then these poor kids don't see a dime of it, and they have to go back to school and say, I failed. And is that right? No. These are kids. No,
you need internships. You need the hours to internship to graduate.
And
right.
So then when they get fired, they fail their classes, and it's like, that's not right either. Just because you were having a bad day and didn't have enough fucking Vicodin, you're going to go through and fucking fire everybody? Fuck you.
Yeah. Fuck.
Like, I've just had it with that man. I hope somebody does leave him alone with his motherfucking money, because it needs to be now.
Yeah, like, personally, Violent J, like I said this before, every artist that is up, like, has money up their ass needs to take it away and throw them back in the food stamp line so they understand where the fuck they came from. That's the only
that's
way.
the thing, Dominic. They don't know they've forgotten where they came from. At least Violent J, for that matter. Violent J used to be kissing Esham's fucking black ass all up and down Detroit back in the day whenever they first started off, you know. They bit so much shit off Esham. Lyric-wise, they just changed up a couple words, sitting in a crack house, earning my pay, you know. He used that on his own solo album. Like, I mean, he stole shit from him, and he used to kiss his ass, and then he screws him over. And now all this other shit is finally coming to surface that, hey, ICP aren't the, like, I hate to say it, but aren't the childhood stars that we used to love, you know, in a way. Because some of these people that grew up with these guys, and they have the mentality of ICP can't do no wrong, when in actuality they've done wrong, you know. And that's why I wanted to get you on here, Sasha, because I know that Bam's been hitting me up every so often, like, dude, this bullshit happened, that bullshit happened, lost my place, lost this, lost that. I'm like, damn, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why isn't anybody taking the wool from their eyes and just seeing what the fuck is actually happening? But people don't or refuse to, you know.
Well, and when you first sign with them, they're so sweet. They're, you know, like, they put the big security system in. They gave me a car. They made sure I was taken care of, so I believed in the contract. And then one day, all of a sudden, Violent J said, oh, well, I need to borrow that car back just for today. Mine's broken down. I never saw the car again. And the next thing I knew, the alarm system was like $1,000 in arrears, and the only thing I could do was settle out of court with the company and pay it myself. So not only have they not paid me, but I've gone in debt supporting my career with them. So, I mean, and that's what they do to everybody. It's like they treat you like you're golden, And especially, like, me not coming from their scene, they especially tried to charm me because for some reason they thought for sure I wasn't going to do it. And again, I wouldn't have cared if they said that I had to support everything and pay out of pocket. If it's what I wanted to do for myself, that's what I would have done. I didn't need some big fancy contract with a bunch of numbers in front of me. I didn't need that.
Right.
All I needed was to know that what I was doing was right and that I was backing something that I could believe in. And I can't say that anymore. And if they were to call me tomorrow, I'd tell them to fuck off and say that I'd done this interview and they can sue me if they want. I don't have anything to sue because they didn't give me anything. So you want to sue a girl that's on disabilities and pregnant, go for it.
That'll be the stupidest decision of their life.
Pretty much. And so now I'm pretty much saying bring it on, and I'm trying to get out of my contract at this point.
So you're still
and
like
again, I can't go
they're
too
not
much
letting
into
you out
that.
of your contract? They're not.
Yeah, I'm still under contract for the next 5 years. They sign 7 years with most of us because that way when they're done with us, they can say, well, you're still under contract. We could still use you so that you don't talk. They dangle that carrot. And
and that's
I can't walk away.
With Twisted, right?
Pretty much. And the way that they did Twisted was just absolutely awful.
Yeah, they fucked them over so bad.
Well,
yeah,
well, Sasha, we got like 3 minutes left on the clock here before the show ends. What do you have to say? Final words, and shout outs and all that.
Final words are whoop whoop to anyone that is on my Facebook page and anyone that's listening right now. A big thank you to Boondocks and everybody else whose name at the label I've mentioned. I hope there are no hard feelings except for Violent J. I love you all. And I guess stay true to yourself. And 7 shines all day, Corrupted Minds Entertainment.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, Sasha, we're going to have to let you go because the timer's about to click off on us. Thank you for coming up on our show. And
thank you for
sharing and standing on your fucking soapbox. If you want on here anytime, just hit me up. You know where I'm at. So.
Yeah, sounds great.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you for having me. You guys have a great night.
You too, sweetheart.
Bye-bye.
Bye.